Do you care who your therapist is?
Yeah. I was I like that you asked this question because when I was looking for a therapist, I was very specific on what I wanted.
What did you want?
I wanted a female. I didn't want a male therapist because not that I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing some of the things that I was going through, but like I don't know. It's like I said with you in the last episode, women just make me feel more comfortable, more at ease. And I felt like I could open up with her more than I would have been able to open up with, say, a male therapist.
I mean, I could definitely say, you know what I mean? I could definitely say when thinking about therapy or going to therapy, a lot of the deterrent for me, just to even like pursue therapy, because I've been in relationships where, you know, the individual is kind of like, I've tried to open up to them and they were just like, I don't have space for that. And like, I think that you should see someone.
Well, then they should be in some therapy too, because
they do accept therapy, and they already incorporated therapy in their life. But that was kind of like, you know, the eye opener, the awakening for me. Like, it's like, wow, like we are living in different times. Like I can't even turn to my partner about the things that I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
Because they don't have space for it.
But that's what I'm saying is that your partner should not be your therapist.
Okay.
A therapist
fair.
and a partner are two completely different things.
But then what? But your home, I don't know. Like your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. Your partner is supposed to be your partner.
Yes,
like,
your partner is supposed to be your partner, not your person that you literally. Because
it doesn't need to be everything.
Let's be realistic here. I know that sometimes some of my friends are going to therapy and they're talking about their partners, about the issues that go on. You can't.
Well, why can't you just talk to your partner about it?
You can talk about it, but a lot of the time.
You have to go to therapy for it first?
No, you don't have to go to therapy, but it's like I said to you, a lot of the time you gain a better traction of your thoughts and, you know, better ways to handle your issues rather than just putting it out there.
I just feel like you're just maybe allowing somebody else to compose your thoughts for you.
No.
And then
See, but that's not it. It's not it because at least with my therapy sessions that I had, you know, she let me talk for the entire time.
Okay.
And then she sits, but even that in itself is so freeing, like, because you feel like you're getting it off your chest.
I guess, but then you could have just done that, you know.
But you don't want to be a burden to your friends.
To anyone. You could have just found a stranger. You could have just started one of those.
But would you feel comfortable going up to...
You could just journal, write a letter and send it to a stranger across the country.
That you would feel comfortable going up to a random stranger and being like, yeah, I did court-mandated therapy.
I'm transparent. You had no problem walking right up in the studio and saying it. Yeah, of course. Like, that's how I live my life.
Yeah, but
take it or leave it.
I find it so hard to believe. And if anybody out there agrees with me that you can go up to a random person and be like, hey, these are my issues.
Please.
I give you props because I could never do that. However, like,
all right, but,
you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. Don't sit here and try and say that.
I do it all the time. I do it in everyday life.
All right.
But so the point I was looking to get at is like, that was my struggle with finding a therapist, because I entertained the idea. I was like, look, listen, I'll go to therapy.
Okay, but here's another thing.
I'll go to therapy.
Are any of your friends in therapy?
Are any of my friends currently in therapy?
Any of your male friends in therapy?
None of my male friends have ever been to therapy.
Exactly.
No,
and there we go. Because I've had some of my male friends have been in therapy for years.
Just after the show, just if you could let me know who they are so I don't associate with them anymore. No. That would be great. That would be great, because I know a lot of your friends.
We'll bring up another statistic here. Only 12% of men acknowledge going to therapy, and 21.4% of women acknowledge it. All
right, so it's almost double. It's almost double. Not
pretty
quite.
Much. Almost. We're almost there.
You're almost
by a fifth.
Okay. I think it's okay. It was hard. I entertained the idea. I entertained the idea of going to therapy. I did. I even went as far as to like search therapists, go on all different channels, look through all different firms and companies. And my issue is this: the industry, that the psychology industry, the therapy industry, is predominantly women, and it is predominantly Caucasian women. Yeah. And being a 31-year-old black man, I don't feel comfortable sitting down in front of a Caucasian woman, dumping my life traumas onto her.
Because she doesn't get it.
And my life experiences because they say you're supposed to unpack the childhood trauma, you know what I mean? And giving her my life experiences from my adolescence, you know what I mean, and things that I've seen growing up to my adulthood, and expecting her to be able to relate, understand, comprehend, and not to say, I'm not trying to dismiss anyone's traumas here. You know what I mean? I get it. All people experience traumas, right? Like everyone does. Like, again, we don't need to go off on that, right? Like we get it. I acknowledge that, right? But there are certain levels and certain degrees when it comes to your atmosphere, your environment, things that you are just
100%.
inadvertently like
100%
that you see all the
yeah.
time. That like, how are you going to be able to relate that to someone? You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to be able to explain to my therapist that I just casually saw people fighting on the streets just for fun? Just like street fights and rings, you know what I mean? That like that probably subconsciously.
But that's part of your generation because you don't feel comfortable.
But why would I feel comfortable explaining that to someone that I know for a fact who? And it's almost, I'm not trying to like reverse and use it against them, but like I don't know. There's no way they could actually relate. You know what I mean? They're just trying
to. They're not sitting there trying to relate with you. They're sitting there trying to empathize with you.
But then it's like, I don't want your empathy.
But then
you know what I mean? I don't want your empathy.
You don't understand the real, like the background of therapy.
I want your understanding. I want to speak to somebody who gets it, who's been in a similar situation, who's handled it differently.
Okay, so then,
you know what I mean?
So then
That's
when you're looking for therapists, then you need to put in specific, like I know for when I was
Good luck. Try to find one. I'll tell you right now, when I say 90%, I think that was being generous. I think that was being generous. 90% are Caucasian women. I honestly
you're 100% right.
You can scroll for days.
It's all that. However, you know, but that's
my demographic doesn't even go to therapy. So now you mean to tell me that I'm not only am I going to go to therapy, but I'm going to go talk to someone who has completely no understanding of what it was to grow up in my environment. But I'm going to find something out of it. What am I going to take out of it?
I'm saying there are ways for you to find people.
I would be angry.
All right.
I'll be an angrier person.
But even me, but I can agree with you on that standpoint because, you know, when I was looking for therapists after I had left, you know, school, because the one that when I was in school, she was like she was through the school. So she was like, I went like on campus and like sat in her office and
sort of like my court mandated, you know. It was like, this is just
a little bit.
This is just through the educational field.
Yeah.
You can't escape it. You can't escape it. You get it one way or the other.
So when I went to her, you know, I was only with her for a few months and, you know, we did unpack some stuff, but then I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't really need this anymore. I'm good. I feel okay with myself. However, I came to realize, like you said, a lot of it had to do with where I was at that point in time. I was stuck at school with no family around in the middle of upstate New York in the dead of winter, doing literally nothing. So the only thing that I could do was sit and run back in my head like, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm saying like now, so when I came back home, I was like after I graduated my senior year, I was looking for more therapists to see while I'm here at home. However, things have changed. I'm older now. I have a lot more better of a grasp of like what I actually need to work on. But even then, like this is where I can agree with you. It's hard for me to find somebody that like I feel like truly gets it. Because
I feel like that's almost against your point because it's like
it's not against my point though because my generation is a lot more susceptible to it.
Yeah, but I almost feel like even it kind of contradicted me. It's just like it shouldn't. I'm saying on your point, it's therapy. It's therapy. You should be able to choose the channel. We know it's there. We know it's a viable option, right? Mm-hmm. But then it shouldn't matter, right? Like for that perspective, it shouldn't matter who you're going to see. Do you know what I mean?
It shouldn't matter to anybody but yourself.
Like it should just be like as long as they're educated, as long as they have the
But
clientele,
it's not just that.
Degree,
it's not just that because when I was looking for therapists, you know, I was looking for people that specialized in family trauma and people that specialized.
Why do they need to specialize in it?
Because they get it because it's like,
you know what I mean?
Like if we go back to like everything, like with my father's affair, right? I am the only one out of my entire friend group here at home that my parents are divorced. The only one.
Boom, bam. Well, welcome to America. You know, more than not, people get divorced.
But that's what I'm saying is that was such a different world for me because, you know, I went to college. I thought I'm past the point of that happening. Like my parents are good to go, yada, yada, yada. However.
But wouldn't you argue that you were already in a position to like be more accepting of it?
What do you mean?
Because I feel like a lot of people, like when their parents get separated, it's like a lot more traumatic or more of an impactful thing when it happens when they're younger. Versus you, where you were like already removed and out of the house.
Yeah,
when
but
it happened.
this is where it differs, because with the way that my parents separated, the way that my life just kind of blew up, it wasn't that.
How did it blow up though? That's why I guess I'm not understanding how the effect of
because my dad blindsided all of us. He literally did not like.
I'm pretty sure that's how affairs work. It's it's blindsided, but
it is. However, they were what I thought love was. They were my depiction of love my entire life. And then to figure out at the age of 20 that, whoa, that was not love. I don't know what the heck that is.
It was love at one point though.
It was at one point. Okay. However, it turned into something that no longer was not.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So when it blew up my life in the fact that I guess I was naive to the fact that I thought it could never happen, because I was 20 years old and like already in my junior year of college. Like I got 2 more years left. I
just kind of feel like, I almost was like, brush it off at that point. You know what I mean?
But I think it was also harder for me. I think it's also harder for me to process, because I know you just said, compared to age, it probably would have been more devastating to me as a child. But I disagree, because I know everything that's going on. I've seen my friends get cheated on. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Happens quite frequently.
Okay. It does. But you know what I mean? I understood it on a different level. Whereas when I was a kid, my mom probably would have just said to me, we're not happy. We're getting divorced.
Like you got, so to the point, do you feel like you got anything out of the therapy?
Out of therapy?
Yeah. Do you feel like you actually gained anything?
I think that it showed me, that I can't let every little minuscule thing that happens in my life bother me, because I do have that issue. I am a notorious overthinker. I will overthink until I can't sleep.
Yeah, but then we should probably get back to adopting therapy, because I don't know if that really helped as much.
What do you mean?
I don't know if you still have that issue. You still have.
And I think that you have some issues as well.
Many.
Yeah.
Many. Many. But the difference is I'm transparent about them.
But do you not think that I sit here and I'm transparent about it too?
Maybe. Maybe not.
But it's like we said in the last episode, fake it till you make it. That's the issue with my generation. We will portray to the world that, we're doing great and we're not in therapy and we're not depressed. However, a lot of us probably are.
So you're just associating therapy with depression? Like if you're going to therapy?
Don't put words in my mouth, because therapy is not just for people that are depressed. Therapy is for anyone and everyone. And if you want to go to therapy, I recommend it to people all the time. And I'm not even in it right now.
Are you pro it or against it? So you're pro.
I am obviously pro. And this is where I struggle with you, because I can't tell if you're pro or if you're anti, because you've been in it, obviously a lot different of a situation than I
many of it
have. Yeah. But do you think that has changed you as a person?
I think it had to.